we got the champion, the WWE heavyweight champion in here, man, Drew McIntyre.
The chosen one.
Hey, listen, Drew, man.
Oh, that's sick. Let me see that.
Look at that belt.
So here it is. Look at the nameplates. I got to show you here. Those personalized nameplates.
That's fire, bro.
Way cooler than Brock Lesnar's crappy nameplates.
I have the expensive replica of that upstairs in my son's room. I got it on Black Friday. So
you got a deal.
Yeah, I was very excited when you won the belt at Mania. I'm curious, man, because we always talk about everyone having their WrestleMania moments, and I feel like all WWE fans, especially when watching Royal Rumble, I remember just like rooting for you, like, yeah, man, like it's Drew's time. Then this COVID shit happens, and we're here. Mania was different, obviously. It was not the same. This was before there was the Thunderdome with the fans on it, because I think that's helped a lot. But Mania was in the beginning of things, and it was kind of awkward to watch. How did that feel to have your big moment not necessarily be, a usual WrestleMania moment?
Yeah, I mean, the initial feeling of, I can't believe I spent 20 years working to finally get a WWE Championship match. I won the Royal Rumble. I've challenged Brock Lesnar, the top attraction in the whole of, sports in general.
Right.
And it's going to be in my American hometown, like 15 minutes from where I'm sitting right now.
Yep.
I'm going to be fighting 90,000 people. Friends and family are all going to be there. They're going to be going wild. I'm the main event, put some smiles on faces, and pandemic happens. But that's just the story of my life. Nothing ever goes to plan. And as angry and upset as I was at first, when I sat down and really thought about it, I realized I was being a little bit selfish. And I turned on the news, started understanding how serious this pandemic was, and realizing that WWE is the only game in town that's pushing ahead to give the world escape during those difficult times, especially right there when the pandemic hit.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, you've been kind of selfish, bro. You got to look at this different. Like, you're in the main event, you've got a feel-good story, and if you win that title, it's going to put a lot of smiles on a lot of people's faces. And when I walked into the building, felt weird. Nobody there, very quiet, very minimal crew. But when my music hit and I walked to that ring and I saw Brock walk into the ring, I slipped right into the zone. I was ready to beat his ass. When I looked him in the eye, if you could read my mind, I was thinking, try any funny business, Brock, and I will drop you where you stand. And that's legit what was going through my head. And when I won the title, I couldn't help myself taking a moment to reach down the camera and thank everyone at home. Thank you for choosing WWE during these difficult times. Thank you for willing Drew McIntyre to win the title, because I'm not champion without the fans rallying behind me. When I found out that 13.8 million people interacted socially over WrestleMania weekend, it was up 60% from last year.
Yeah.
Heck of a lot of people tuned into WrestleMania, and I was very proud we were able to entertain them for that weekend.
No, it was.
I saw your 24, and I remember your dad saying that was the proudest moment in his life. And I thought that was big, bro, like for him to say that. But I also wanted to know, when you won the NXT strap, like which one kind of meant more to you? Because I remember watching that and you kind of got emotional during that as well. Like, which one do you feel like meant the most to you at the specific time when you won? Because you didn't know you were going to win the WWE title when you won the NXT strap.
Yeah. And I mean, I didn't know I was going to win the NXT title until it happened. But they both meant a lot in different ways. The NXT title was won after I was fired in 2014, and I was at the lowest point of my life in my career, and I had to work so hard, busted my butt across the world, and willed myself up to, with a lot of support, especially from the family and the wife, to become the top wrestler outside of WWE after leaving the company at Comedy Act, essentially. And to return in NXT where I wanted to return and become champion, that was a huge, big step forward. Like, wow, I can't believe I did this. Everything's going to plan. It meant the world to me to become NXT champion. But the goal has always been, since I was 5, WWE champion. That was the dream. And coming back to Raw and kind of working my way up the Raw roster, I knew I wanted to take it a step at a time and educate the fans on who I am these days. And it took a while, and the puzzle pieces started falling into place probably about 3 months before I won the Royal Rumble. But the key was just being myself. Yeah. I finally stopped being the angry, I'm Greek carcasses, Drew McIntyre, and finally started talking to them. I'm talking right now and just saying to everyone, hey, look like the falling out of Game of Thrones and Braveheart combined or something. But I'm just a big wrestling fan. This is my dream. I'm so happy to do it. I'm just like all of you. I'm a freaking goof. I'll make jokes that aren't funny. I'm not afraid to fall flat in my face when I'm doing my promos and my interviews.
Right.
But when the bell rings, I'm going to kick the crap out of you. And that kind of related to people and led to me winning the Royal Rumble.
I mean, listen, man, I think that what's always been extreme, you know, we always hear that Vince has like a certain type of guy that he likes to win. And when you see you, Drew, you've always been a physical specimen, you know. I'm very curious, the 3MB days, because you were on the come up, and it seemed like you were gonna be next up, right? Which is essentially, I mean, you know, everyone who thought that was right, because you are the champion at the moment. But then you end up joining the 3-man band. Like you said, you guys kind of became like tag team jobbers. Like, you know, you guys were just essentially getting thrown to the wolves, whether it was Heath or you or Jinder.
Yep.
And it like you said, it was kind of like the laughing stock, right? It was like it was kind of a whack gimmick. You guys end up getting let go. I think Heath didn't get let go initially, but then Jinder comes back and he's jacked out of his mind. He has a run, which I thought was super dope, you know, because again, like I thought it was dope that WWE circled back around and brought everybody back in on their own accord. Like how difficult was it for you to shake the 3MB stigma once you left? And was that something that you talked about with Vince coming back in, like how to get away from like that perception of you? Because they did it with Jinder, you know, and it worked for, you know, for a moment.
Yeah, I mean, it was gone. When I came back to WWE there, I don't think anyone even thought about 3MB because I looked like I'd essentially eaten that version of myself.
No, you did. You were jacked
like,
as well. Yes. You got the beard now and all that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think like it was pretty quick that I think I was able to shake it outside the company. But I knew before I cut my first promo, it was covered in my 24 on the WWE Network. When I was going back to Scotland, when they snuck me in for my initial promo, my mission statement, I knew I was going to say some bold things that a lot of people were going to roll their eyes and think I was crazy. And I literally stood in front of the sold out crowd there, and I knew it's going to pick up some steam. I didn't realize how viral it was going to go. But I said, I'm going to become the biggest wrestler in the world, and ICW is going to get put on the map, and I'm going to elevate wrestling in general. And that was my mission statement at first. And to a lot of people, they were like, I believe in Drew. I know Drew. But to most people, that's that 3MB guy. He's lost his mind completely. And then I had people like Mick Foley watch the whole promo. I talked for 20 straight minutes during that interview. Mick took the time to watch the whole thing. He went on Stone Cold Steve Austin's podcast to put me over. I had people like Jericho put me over on their podcast. People that believed in me knew what I was truly capable of. So I started getting in the ring after that. My first match, I won the Evolve Championship, which was in an indie company with a lot of great buzz, some of the best in-ring workers like the Ricochets, Garganos, Roderick Strongs of the world, and started competing at a high level with them and matching them step for step. So right away, people realized, wow, this guy was way more capable than we thought. Some people actually said, like, man, Drew's got so much better since he left WWE after my first Evolve match. I was like, I got fired 3 weeks ago. I was able to do that. But the most important thing was I really had to find myself, not just inside the ring and on the microphone, but as a person. So that time away was so essential for me to grow up and become the main event performer I am today.
When you do, oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say that time on the indie circuit, was it, you know, that's like fight or flight. That's like really betting on yourself, right? Like,
Absolutely.
You know, talk like during that time, you know, you had just gotten fired, and sometimes going on the indie circuit after getting fired from WWE doesn't work out. We've seen a lot of people who just kind of fade off and, you know, end up doing conventions and shit like that. I'm sure that was never an option in your head. But like, was there ever a point in time where you know, were maybe worried, or like, did you always just believe that like, yo, I'm betting on myself, this is going to work out either way?
Yeah, I mean, I found out when I was filming the 24 that I did have a lot of worry because every time I spoke about it since I got back to WWE, I was like, oh yeah, I was so confident. I went out there, I took over the world, became the man. That's not how it happened at all. My wife reminded me, like, I was anxiety ridden. I hadn't been in the ring very much during 3MB. I certainly hadn't been doing promos very much during 3MB. Right. So I was nervous the entire time, but everybody around me helped lift me up because they all came at me and looked at me like a leader, like, Drew's here, now we're finally going to go to the next level. And inside I was terrified. But because they believed in me so much, gave me confidence. And if I had to fake it till I made it for a while, that was just fine with me. But like you say, there was no fallback plan. I spoke to a couple of the guys outside that had been released in the past, and they told me, this is the game plan, Drew. You do your WWE character, you travel once around the world, make a lot of money. The second time, less money. The third time, you'll finally get a wage. That's your wage. You just stop there. And I was like, man, that's terrible business sense.
That sounds like a bad idea.
That sounds horrible.
That's how everyone had always done it before me. But I knew that social media is so big right now. I can take the fans on this journey with me. I'll create this character and I'll bring everyone through the journey on social media. And that's what I did. And it got to the point where I was really firing on all cylinders. And one year, like, people don't take it as serious these days, but I still do. The Pro Wrestling Illustrated Top 500. I was joint 10 with John Cena. And I remember in 3MB, I was like 500 or something, or whatever. And because of my hard work, I was joint 10 with Cena. And I was like, wow, that's really cool to me right now. My brother told me, you've become a verb to do a Drew. Leave WWE and become a success, become bigger than you were before. I said, people don't do what you've done. Like, you're the first one to do this. We've had people like kind of Cody step up and then kind of take it to the next level.
Right.
What he's doing right now. But he said, you're the guy that's going to create this, way to go about things when you leave WWE from now on. And that was really cool to me. And the best thing was, a lot of it I did with my friends. So I was hanging out with my friends, exceeding with my friends, and my name was making a difference. It wasn't WWE in the marquee. We watched WWE because it's WWE. Right. It was Drew's in town. We're going to check out Drew. And that was really cool.
I'm interested to know about, because, we got the NBA bubble, shout out to the Lakers. We're winning this championship anyway. And then you also have like what's going on in the NFL right now, as far as like COVID exposures and stuff like that.
Hockey
like,
too. Shout out to the Tampa Bay Lightning who won the Stanley Cup.
They did. Wow, I should know that. I live here.
My question to you is, like, when you first actually was like, okay, we're gonna do this thing. We're gonna everybody's gonna come in. We're gonna do it. Were you nervous to return to like doing the WWE thing, and or what are some of the procedures that put you at ease as far as like working?
I mean, I've been at ease the whole time. We never stopped. As we spoke about already, from WrestleMania, the height of the pandemic and giving everyone that escape, we never stopped running, and I felt comfortable the whole time. Aside the fact we're following the strictest CDC guidelines to the letter, and we have such a bare bones crew, so we're able to follow, social distancing. Everybody wears masks 100% of the time. You get tested before you even get to the building. You're not allowed in the building without a negative test. Then you get tested again when you get to the building. You get your temperature taken when you get to the building. You have to fill out a form when you get to the building.
Right.
Now you take that mask off, you're getting fined. Unless you're on camera and everyone around you has the mask on. Like, it's so strict, but obviously, to make sure everybody's safe. And I've felt safe the entire time, from the height of the pandemic till right now.
Got you.
Hey, I want to know, Drew, we're all wrestling fans here, and I wanted to get your take on Roman's current run as a quote unquote heel. I think, he's been doing some special things lately, and I've been extremely critical of Roman Reigns in the past as a fan.
Extremely critical.
My child has not been, because that's his favorite wrestler, and I guess that's what Roman Reigns is for, to be 7-year-old's favorite wrestlers. But I'm curious, what is your take on, from a fan's perspective, just the stuff that Roman's doing right now?
I think if you ask Roman, he wouldn't consider himself a heel. He feels validated, like he had to take time off for personal reasons, felt like he got a rough time for it, and he's come back and pointing out like, hey, I gave everything to the company for years. I was a top guy for years, I literally gave my heart and soul. And he spoke about what it takes to be a top guy, and I'm truly understanding that over the past 6 months, what he's done for 7-8 years. So if you ask Roman, he feels completely justified in his actions regarding what he used to be. Like, the thing is now, like, he gets to be himself. There was restrictions, he was holding back. Roman's really like cool guy. He has like cast such a presence when he's in the locker room, but it felt like he was holding back, as I'm sure that's what deterred you for the run in the past. But now, like, all restrictions are off. He's saying what he feels, and he believes it 100%. And when you believe something 100%, that's cool. And the funny thing is, a lot of people have said to me about what you're doing right now, like, it's similar to what Roman was doing in the past, but I believe it more. But the thing is, like, Roman's the cool guy. Like, I'm not. I am the goofy guy. I am the silly guy. I'm over the top guy. The stuff that we're trying to get him to do, that's really me. So I kind of slot into that kind of role because that's who I am. And when the bell rings, I kick butt. And so I think we're both in the positions, we need to be right now. And if we keep going in the trajectories we're both going right now, that's going to be a huge freaking match down the line.
Fair enough. Hey, tonight is the draft, which as a kid,
Well,
I'm
by
sort
the
of
time people see this, the draft would be done.
I'm just it's
Oh,
interesting.
really? Oh, my goodness. Am I on Raw? Am I on SmackDown? I don't know right now, but y'all know.
No, it's I just what were your thoughts when WWE? I love the fact that WWE brought back the two brands because I felt like there was like too much people getting held back because there was just one. It just felt like they're like I feel like the SmackDown and Raw thing with the amount of talent that WWE has is necessary to make sure everyone gets their fair shot. Like, what were your thoughts when the draft and the two brands thing got brought back, and do you like it like more than the way it was before? When you were in WWE the last go round.
Yeah, I like the brand split. I think it's cool. Each show has their own respective roster. Like you say, it allows more opportunity for superstars. We have so many talented superstars that deserve to get spotlighted. And if you have, Raw and SmackDown with the same roster, you see a lot of the same people. And to be honest, it gets a little boring and not as special if you're getting not only, it was different back in the day when it was just the television shows, but you've got social media. It's such a big thing now. So if you're getting the same people on the TV show, then the same people on social media, then the same people on the next TV show, that's just too much of the same people. And you
For
just
sure.
get sick of it eventually. So I think it's cool to have the separate rosters, and then you get a bit of everyone. More people get opportunities, and I think it's better for the fans. You get
Hey,
an extra day off.
hey, get an extra day off. Hey, Hell in a Cell is rapidly approaching. I think Hell in a Cell has obviously been a staple in professional wrestling for a long. So one of my favorite things, probably even more so probably than the Elimination Chamber. But do you ever like watch some of those old Hell in a Cell matches and be like, oh my God, like what the fuck am I doing? Not necessarily like that, but I'm saying you want to have your moment in the Hell, and you want to have your Drew McIntyre moment in the Hell in the Cell, obviously.
Especially with Randy, who's had bled from every part of his body in a ring.
Yep. I mean, I have too over the past few months. Randy and I have messed each other up. Be
Yeah.
it Randy's head at SummerSlam from headbutting me, bust himself open. I ripped my elbow open and bust my eye. He bust my eye open. And then at the ambulance match, I went through a windshield and tore me to pieces. So,
Jesus.
we're in like a literal blood feud right now. And Hell in a Cell is the last resort. That's where the big feuds get settled. And the fact that it's my first Hell in a Cell, Randy's been in there before, I'm very excited. Randy's out of his mind. He challenged Drew McIntyre Hell in a Cell. There's nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. I've got a cage as a weapon. I've got unlimited weapons under the ring. I'm not locked in there with him. He's locked in there with Drew McIntyre. He's out of his freaking mind. But I'm excited. I grew up as a kid watching those matches, and I was like, man, I love these Hell in a Cell matches because like things have gotten so beyond fixing. Like this is like it, like man on man in the most diabolical structure in the history of WWE. It's going to finally get settled, and that's what's going on with myself and Randy Orton right now, and I'm so excited about it. I'm going to
Hey,
kick the crap out of him.
You know what kind of sick individual you have to be like, man, I'm so excited to get in this Hell in a Cell.
Yeah, I remember my nickname used to be the Scottish Psychopath. It's not because I'm mild-mannered McIntyre when I'm in the ring. Or my nickname would be mild-mannered McIntyre. Like, when I get in that ring and that bell rings, my opponents are always shocked because this is what I'm like in real life. I'm happy-go-lucky. Right. Like I say, a bit goofy, nice guy, big wrestling fan. But when that bell rings, you can, like when there was no fans there especially, you can hear my shots. I'm not stomping my feet doing all these wrestling punches you used to do as a kid. Right. Pretend punching. I'm chopping the crap out of you. I'm smacking the crap out of you. Red marks are appearing, people, blood's running down their faces. Because my philosophy is, you're two grown men, you can take an ass whipping.
Did you you mentioned you had a long conversation about your indie promo with Foley? Has he given you any sort of advice for the Hell in a Cell match? Because when I think of Hell in a Cell, I think of him, and I think of Undertaker, and I think of Shawn Michaels.
I don't think I would take Hell in a Cell advice from Mick Foley. You know?
Yeah, I think that seems like a terrible advice from you to take advice from Mick. I appreciate that Mick took the time watch my documentary.
I remember watching Beyond the Mat, that documentary, and then I just rewatched it because it's on Netflix, and I was like, God, this guy was fucking insane, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the funny thing is, he's so intelligent. Like, I guess, kind of like myself, I'm so different outside the ring than I am inside the ring, but Mick's exactly the same. You're like, how can this person who's so well-spoken and intelligent do these crazy things to himself? But he had a very specific image in his head of his legacy that he wanted to create. He created it. I mean, I don't know how he climbed up that cell. Mick's a bigger man. He had a separated shoulder when he climbed the cell for the second time during that famous match with The Undertaker, King of the Ring 98. Last year, was it 2 years ago? Sorry, 2018. Myself, Seth Rollins, Dolph Ziggler, and Dean Ambrose climbed up the cell, and there's little footholes in there you can see when I ran out there live to climb up that cell, I couldn't find the foothold. So I literally scaled the thing just with my hands. And I'm a pretty high level athlete, a strong guy. But when I climbed up there, I felt like my fingers were going to fall off. I couldn't feel them anymore because I literally had to scale the cell. And being up on top of it, it was terrifying how high it was. Like,
Oh my
I would
God.
not take advice from Mick for sure, or Shane McMahon. You know, Shane and I spent a lot.
Or Shane McMahon. Hell no.
Yeah, Shane's gave me some great
Just
advice.
climb up it and just fly
Shane.
off of it.
Yeah. I think Randy and I will probably stay inside, but you never know. I might knock Randy out and climb up with him over my shoulder, or get a forklift. You give me ideas. Maybe I get a big forklift, knock Randy out with a claymore, put over my shoulder, go up to the top, climb up, and then toss him off the side. Perfect.
Hey, speaking of the Claymore, I've seen some pretty nasty Claymores, bro. Like some ones where I would probably have a real issue with you, you know, outside of the company. Has it ever happened where, you know, you may or may not have, you know, knocked a tooth out, or, you know?
No, I'm not exactly proud of it, but yeah, maybe it's connected a little harder than I wanted to. I feel bad when it's like my friend. I remember one time I hit Brock with one, and his eye was out to like here, but you know, I saw him from a distance afterwards, and he was laughing, and I was like, man, my foot hurts. How is he laughing right now? I can see him at the distance just laughing his head off. I can see his eye out to freaking here, and he's just laughing. That guy's out of his freaking mind. No wonder he was UFC champion twice.
Yeah, right.
So my poor foot, Brock. My foot's killing me for your face.
Well,
hey,
listen.
I saw something. Hold on 1 second. I saw on 24 about all of the people from the UK, Scottish people that were like rallying around you, looking up to you, like Drew's our guy, you know, this and that. Do you ever think? Do you go into it consciously thinking about that? Because the only reason I asked that is because when I saw that, like, I'm black and there's not many black people in media in Los Angeles as far as doing what I'm doing, and I consciously keep that in my mind when I'm moving and when I'm making strategic moves and stuff like that. Is that something that you keep top of mind, being like basically the face?
I mean, I guess I do and I don't. You know, I'm trying to represent everybody, but you know, I have to take a step back and understand sometimes that, wow, it's insane that I'm the first ever British guy to win the Royal Rumble and win the WWE Championship when there's been so many talented individuals in the past. Like, I can't believe Rigo never did it. I can't believe Wade Barrett never did it. I especially can't believe the Bulldog never did it. And just hearing everyone speak on the network, like how much I inspired them at the time when I was in the UK, and I wanted to elevate everyone and get the scene to the next level, and achieving what I've achieved is really cool. But my thing in general is just through my story, I hope to inspire everyone not to give up. And especially during these times, if you watch my documentary, you see things get dark, and they get really, really dark. There's some difficult times. I know people are suffering and going through that right now. And I want everyone to know that the night's always darkest before the dawn. There's always light. You just got to keep believing. You just got to keep fighting. And that's my primary objective, just to motivate people to keep them going.
Well, there it is. Drew, we got the draft tonight, and then October 25th is Hell in a Cell. Did I get the date right?
Rep.
That's right. October 25th.
October 25th, Hell in a Cell versus Randy Orton, who's a crazy person in his own
Hey,
right.
give him a hard ass Claymore for me. You know what I'm saying? I want to see a tooth fly out.
He's already got a couple of hard ass Claymores, but tune in October 25th and say your goodbyes to Randy Orton, because
say your goodbyes.
He's going to suffer.
Thank you for your time, man. I appreciate you, bro. Thank you, man. We appreciate you.
No, thank you both for having us. This was fun. Hopefully one day we can do this in person when things are back to normal.
Yep. Next year, WrestleMania. Radio Room, Joe, put it together.